Hi guys, I just wanted to do a real quick video about my relatively new, had about a month and a half, Old Country Brazos. I wanted to give you a little rundown. I know that there aren't a whole lot of videos out there of people kind of reviewing them, talking about them. A few, but not many, so I wanted to just kind of show it off and talk about how I like mine and what I've done to it. I'll start with the mods, like here on the door. You can see that the thermometer that's normally here isn't here, and I've drilled a couple of holes and put in a couple of tell-trues there at grate level, which I have not had a chance to smoke with it like that yet because I just did this morning, but I'm looking forward to see how true my temperatures are across the grate when I'm cooking across the main grate. If you're not familiar with the Brazos, it's a 1/4 inch steel, and it is, I believe, 40 inches from end to end, with the cook grate being, I think, about 3 feet by 1.5 feet, somewhere in that ballpark for the bottom one, for the main one, and then the top one I think is like 3 feet-ish by 8 inches, maybe 9 inches, something like that. But it comes with the table that folds up, and you have a little arm that will hold it up, and it's good and sturdy. And it's got down there, I've got it full of pecan wood right now, but it's got a little deck on the bottom where you can put that or whatever you need, and it's got a little pull handle. And the smokestack is really sizable. It's big, it draws a lot of smoke, and my only wish is that if it was maybe a foot taller, I think that would really help out a lot to pull the heat and the smoke a little bit better, especially in my situation, because inside I have, I don't know if you can see it down there, but I have the LavaLock Baffle plate and LavaLock water pan. I'll set that down real quick, and then give you a little view of it. And then you can see down here at the end that it ends here, but there's still a good 6-8 inches of usable cook space that was just open. So what I discovered on my first couple of cooks before I had this was that this would get really hot in here, and then even when I put it in there, this would get hot because that smoke and the heat would come out, they would filter out, and then it would get right there, and there was nothing stopping it, so that heat would really build up as it was exiting. And now that still happens even with the baffle plate. And then I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that these are 1/8 inch bar that I cut down to, I think, about 16.5 to make as like additional tuning plates there. And that cuts down a lot on the hot spot there, but there's still a little bit of a hot spot, especially the closer you get over here. It's just going to naturally be hotter. That's to be expected, but it does a real good job of making it, you know, up to about that point, it's pretty even from here to over here. One of the issues that I find with the baffle plate, if you have the baffle plate and the water pan is made to go in there, but you can see from where the markings are that it covers the first row of holes for the smoke to come out. And now ordinarily you would probably want the baffle plate pushed as far up against the firewall, the wall with the firebox, as you could get it. Now there's Old Country has their own little baffle plate that runs out, and it goes to about probably right here. And so right now this is butted up against that, so they're pretty much, if I keep it here, there won't be any smoke coming out here, and if that's in there, there won't be any smoke coming from that first set, and you know, these are just barely kind of revealed here, so who knows how that's going to affect it. So what I do is that I pull this back just a little bit so that there's a little bit of smoke that comes up over the edge and rolls this way, and then most of the smoke comes down there, most of the smoke and the heat. And then the water pan's great, except for it takes it a while for it to heat up. Once it gets, you know, to temp, then you have your good even heat. But until you do that, there's kind of a dead spot there, and this would be your money spot. You know, that's where you're getting all your heat. I don't have these bolted together per se. I just put the bolts in there to keep them in space, but I wanted to show you what I've also added in the cook chamber here is just 4 fire bricks, and they're wrapped in foil so they're easy to clean, but it's just 4 fire bricks to help kind of even the temps out down there. Initially, I had 8 fire bricks in here, and I went all the way up to the firewall, and what I discovered was that, for one, it restricts, because there's that other fire plate that Old Country put in. It restricts the flow. So what happens is it just gets hot here, and then the fire bricks eat the heat up. They just suck up the heat, and so it really kind of trickled the heat out. And I think it was more so because of the lack of flow of heat and smoke than it was actually the fire bricks. But I pulled those other fire bricks out because I didn't need them. I didn't want them. I don't want to struggle to get 225. I want to be able to hit 300 easily if that's what I want to cook at. And in this configuration, I can do that. So I'm really liking it. I like the fact that I don't have to put a water pan up on the grate and take up space. I can cook over the water pan, and it does just fine. I haven't done a huge cook yet. One of my first cooks was a rack of pork ribs, a brisket point, and some sausage, and then I heated up some bread. I buttered some bread and wrapped it in foil and heated it up, and I did the sausage and the bread up on the top grate, which I know a lot of folks don't use it, but it worked perfectly for that. I did get a little bit crowded down here because I had temperature probes and thermometers and everything. I was just kind of wanting to figure this thing out a little bit, so I was experimenting with a lot of stuff. But overall, I had plenty of room in the cook chamber, and it holds really good temps because, as I mentioned, it's 1/4-inch steel, and again, it takes a little while to heat up, but boy, when it does, that it really holds that heat, and it makes it easy to give you a good consistent heat. And more so if you get to the point where you're cooking chicken or something like that, and you want to slow cook it 250 for a couple of hours, and then you want to crisp up the skin and ramp that thing up to 325, something like that, 350. It's a lot easier to do. Once this thing is heated up, it's easy to get the heat to come back up. Just open that door, stoke that fire, get it going, and it will heat up pretty quick once all this is heated up. I will point out that the fire bricks, that adds thermal mass, but so does the tuning plates that I built and the baffle plate. That adds thermal mass, and the water pan. That all adds thermal mass, and once that gets hot, then it changes the complexion of your cook chamber a little bit. But I think it's for the better. I think that it makes it easier. One thing I wanted to point out real quick was that I added also the LavaLock gasket around there to seal it, and it does a great job. It seals it up real good, no smoke. There used to be, when I first got it, before I put that on there, first couple of smokes, there'd be a lot of smoke that would seep out here, but that doesn't happen anymore. We'll come over here and look at the Firebox, the few mods I've done here. Now, I know a lot of folks like to just take this grate, and they'll pull it out and they'll put it in the bottom, and they'll use that to put their fire on. I don't want to do that because I want to cook on this guy. Probably 20% of the time I'm going to do something like reverse sear a steak or something like that, and I want to be able to finish it on there. So I like to just pull that off when I'm not using it, just set it aside. What I have here is I have the Lone Star Grill's 20-inch fire management box, and I love it. It's great. At first I had trouble with it because I had a whole set of other things going on here with the fire bricks and everything. I wasn't figuring things out. But I tell you what, once I got it configured and figured out, I really love the way that it allows you to really control the heat, really keep the heat going, keep your fire going. My biggest problem with it is that I tend to want to keep stoking it, adding wood, add wood, and then I end up with literally a big old stack of super hot coals like that, and I have to clean it out. And what I have it sitting on right now is the fire plate that normally comes with the Brazos, and it doesn't vent the ash like you'd want to. Now, normally I'll have that usually moved over towards the side, so it'll vent it a little bit more. You can maybe see where those vent holes are. And then over here I'll put my next set of wood that I'm wanting to preheat before I throw it in there. And in here you can see them down there, but I have 6 more fire bricks, and they just line the bottom. And then I have turned, I don't know if you can see that, but I took the original fire plate that came with it, and I turned it upside down, and it's just sitting on those bricks, and it's sitting on the edge, and it's perfect. It lifts this guy up to what I think is the perfect height. It's a little bit closer to the entry on the firewall. So I think that it's getting a little bit more reliable heat in there, and the smoke has always been good. I've not had any problems with that. And the other thing too is that when I want to do the reverse sear or whatever, that's just a little bit closer. That's probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches closer to the grate itself than that is. And I did a tri-tip where I reverse seared it. I cooked it and then to 110, smoked it to 110, then brought it down here and I tried to stoke the fire and everything, and it worked. But I had to have it on the fire longer than I wanted to sear it, because it was just so hard to get the heat to do a good sear on it. I wanted the heat to be a little bit closer, and frankly, for that purpose, I wish I could get it a little bit closer than what it is. But you know, it's not a perfect world. Okay, cost-wise, I got to go through this because my phone's about to run out of storage. But cost-wise, the smoker itself was $1,000. And then I got this from Lone Star Grills, shipped. It was just under $100. The fire bricks I got at Tractor Supply, and they're just under $4 a piece, something like $3.79 or something like that. The water pan was actually a little pricey in my opinion, and I probably should have thought it through a little better, but it's about 50 bucks. And then the baffle plate was another, I think, 95 bucks or 90 bucks, something like that. And then I got that bar that I made into tuning plates from Home Depot, and that was $8, I think, for a 60-inch piece. And then, of course, I had a Tell-True on my old smoker, and so I pulled that off and put it on here. And then recently got another Tell-True, and so that was another $60. So they're, you know, with the mounting kit, it comes to about $60 a piece, I think. So, you know, all in all, you're in at what's, you know, $1,500 or something like that, and you got a smoker that I think really rivals smokers that cost $1,000 or $2,000 more. I'm loving it. I enjoy it, and hopefully this video helps someone. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer and give any information. Thanks.